guys doing? This is the Rob and George Enlightenment Evolution Show. This is Rob.
And this is George.
And we're here today to talk about a few things. Actually, today what we want to talk about is trying to keep our identity despite our existence around us. We want to focus in today about keeping our existence, living in the moment, realizing all these things in life that happen from day to day that tend to be reflections of our own selves and projecting those outwardly. I think there's a lot to go over here, and if there's any specific place you want to start, brother, I'd love to hear.
Well, brother, greetings to all that are listening, and I'd just like to, maybe we'll start off on just kind of getting back to the basics in terms of remembering our identity in each moment that we are awake, trying to understand that this ascension period, this transition is basically just a change of polarity. And, we live in a universe of polarity, light and dark. And through, millions and millions of years in this polarity, we are currently shifting to a more of a positive aspect of that. So I think that kind of talking about that and amongst other things will be very beneficial for the listeners.
I agree, brother, completely. I think one of the main aspects of seeing ourselves, see us in a whole group from the time humanity started till now. And this is the one problem that we always run across through digging through vast amounts of information. There's so much different channel material out there. There's so many non-channel material out there. There's people who have spent their lives dedicated to knowledge, and nothing comes together acceptably. Things tend to be different from every source knowledge. So this is one thing that can be frustrating for a lot of people. But there's something that I talked to Treb about recently, and for those of you who aren't here because of the channeling work that I do and the work that George and me do together, basically I do channel, and I channel an entity named Treb. And I asked him one time, why is all this information about the past to humanity different? I mean, one channeler says this, one channeler says this, one person who digs for information sees this. What can we do to get this lined up? What do we know is right? What do we know is wrong? And he explained to me that the very simple things that are different are not different because one's lying, one's telling the truth. Everyone's telling the truth. Everyone's telling the parts of their own history, and it is because just like in our probable future existences, they're all done in probabilities. It's to deal with the energy that we're within in the moment, connecting outward to different probabilities for who we will be in the future, how we will reincarnate for the next life, because the way time is experienced is so different from the way we feel it. We feel it from A to B, linear, starting to going. And in this whole thing, a lot of people get caught up in future and past, but in reality, it's all happening right now. It's happening as we speak, every single existence, every part of your own life. And I know many people can't wrap their head around this. Well, how is me being a little baby being the same as right now? Well, it's all happening now. And what links us to these past lives is the vibration that we're in. What links us to the future life is the vibration we're in right now. So we all have different paths. We all have different things. But humanity in general follows a general path. It shows us evolution. It shows us growing. And then it shows us falling. And then it shows us growing again. And right now we're in that stage of growing. And I think it's so important to remind ourselves that we are still growing day to day, and these things are so important. I wanted to cover that before we got into the deeper aspects, brother, because I know so many people get confused about these things too. Is there anything you wanted to add to that?
Well, yes, that's a very great point, brother. I think a lot of there's so much information out there, like you mentioned, about the past lives, future lives, and this current incarnation. But I think what's most important, that depending on your vibration, like you mentioned, we actually bleed through that vibration, whether it be positive or negative, and the aspects of ourselves that are vibrating at any given moment are what we're going to experience. So it's so important to in this time that we're in to actually have be conscious of the fact that whatever you're experiencing and I know what I do personally is I send the other aspects of myself unconditional love. And it really makes a difference. It keeps your consciousness there to be able to really understand how everything works in this linear time frame.
Absolutely, brother. And sorry for that. It took me a minute. It's kind of having a little technical issue with the feedback on it. So, yeah, I agree with you completely, brother. The one part about realizing who we are is the most important aspect of that is to realize who we are now. And so many people get caught up in this day-to-day thing about our past and our futures and all these things. And the important part is who we are now. And I agree with you too, brother. There are parts of our past and probable future that can bleed through from time to time because we're connected to them from the vibrational stance that we're at this moment. So when this happens, I think the most important part is to accept that and to love them and to connect to them, like you said, because this is bringing that separation and pain that might be going on in their existence that's affecting us vibrationally and giving them love too. And I know that Treb's talked about this in depth in the last time that me and you had spoke to him too, brother, and I think it was really amazing the way he explained it. And I think it's very, very important for people to know that their past lives, future lives, all of these things are tied up into one. But the one thing we have to focus in on is the time that we're at right now, because this is where our point of concentration is focused in. This is the existence we are meant to experience. And even though we're able to experience other portions of ourselves, or some people are, whether they know it or not, I think all of us are in one way or another, but some can realize this and focus in much better. And what we can't get wrapped up into that and lost in that, because so many people do. The whole point is to live now and to live in this time and to be at a good vibration now. And it's obvious. Every person that you ever talk to about metaphysics, laws of attraction, any of these new age style of ideas, they will all tell you what the one key to being in a happy existence is, and that's living in your excitement. I think that's a really big point that a lot of people aren't doing. And I think part of that, as me and you have covered too, brother, on the last time we did the Rob and George show, was that people aren't acting upon their excitements too.
Yeah, brother, that's very true. And it's somehow difficult for people to really understand how all of it works. But if we can somehow simplify it, I think that will be a great aspect of this conversation, because when we remember our identity in the moment, and to remember that we chose to incarnate at this time. So, I look at it as a game. This is a game. We incarnated into 3D. But what we have to do is also remember that the big picture, we're in 3D, we've invested so much into this forgetfulness of who we really are, that this awakening right now is so important for us. Out of the 3D and into the 5D game, there are so many aspects that in consciousness that are afforded to us that we really have to understand more of really the basics. Like I said, this universe that we live in is one of polarity. And, through these millions of years, like I stated before, a call was put out, to the universe to have people incarnate at this time to anchor more of the light, to bring more light into Earth here. So I would imagine that, we're probably more past 50% into the light. I would imagine we're 60% at this point in time. But we have to really get more into our hearts with this unconditional love for all people, and really remember that everybody's in the same boat. Even the people that we call sleepers, they're on a mission too, being a conduit of light on this earth. So these basics that we have to always remember, and I think that's really the biggest part of awakening, is remembering in every conscious moment. And with time, it's not like it's work, or you just have to have that constant theme of remembering who you really are.
Sure, absolutely, brother. And that's the one thing that people tend to forget on the day-to-day basis, is that we are light. We are love. This is what we are made of. This isn't something that you have to work at. It's not something that is hard. It's not something that you have to force yourself to be able to love. Love is what you're made of. So if you can exist in your natural state,
Yes.
this is where that love comes from. And when you exist in your natural state, there's no resistance. And this is something that all channelers have explained, but Treb's kind of hit it home to me in this way, that the higher self is giving you a little pointer, like a laser pointer on the ground for the cats when they're chasing them around. The higher self gives you the way to be yourself. It gives you the natural outlet of being able to just express yourself and be love. And this is by your excitement. And living in that excitement is what makes you be who you are, which in turn is truly love. And even if someone doesn't act loving, even if someone doesn't express love in a good way, or what you think is a good way, I think that this is really the point of just being yourself. That in itself is the love that's needed here. So many people I know right now are in that same paradigm. They're in that locked mechanism of not being able to express themselves freely for fear of shame, for fear of doubt, and fear of people looking down on. And this is what I really want to share with everyone, is that it doesn't really matter how others perceive you, because everything that you're looking at, every judgment that's being thrown at you, is not really from them anyway. It's from your own self. Now, I have a person who's very important in my life to me, and this person, every time we're together, if we're out in public, they will perceive that everyone's behaving in a certain way to them. They'll say, well, this person is looking at me negatively because of my hair. This person is looking at me negatively because of my clothes, or my style, or the way I walk. And every time this person is given this type of feeling, I always have to express to them, this is not the truth. This is your truth, because this is how you are feeling inside. You're projecting that out to them. And this is the worst part.
Exactly.
Connecting to people. Exactly. And you know people exactly like that too, brother. I know you do.
Oh yeah, it's unreal, brother. That was the main point of what I was saying, is that we need to focus on ourselves, to alter our consciousness, because when we say these things, they're literal. What you're experiencing on the outside it's just a mirror reflection on what you're feeling. And you can look at it in a positive way or a negative way, but if it's a negative way and you want to change it to a positive way, just be conscious of it. Say, okay, this is showing me something, and it's something I have to change. You're exactly right, brother.
and it is that simple. And that's how I explain this to this person. I say, this is not going on from them to you. I said, there could be a million different ways that they looked at you with their eyebrows down for a reason. They could have just broke their foot. They could have just gotten in a fight with their husband. They could have just gotten into an argument with their child. They could be sad because they've been at a job that they hate for 20 years, and they're not mad at you. You're perceiving this, and the way that perception of how other people see them is always jaded by the whole concept of how they're feeling inside. And this is what we have to stop doing. And you're exactly right, brother. If we worry about what's inside of us, if we worry about the amount of emotion and love and excitement and happiness that we have in ourselves, and act on that and project out, and stop worrying about all of these things outside of you, you will notice that once the inside changes to a very, very happy state, all of those things will not exist. And if it does co-create for some reason or another. It's to give you ammunition to lift yourself up even more.
Exactly, brother. We hear a lot about, the Illuminati and the negative reptilians and the Zeta Reticuli. I mean, all these, even these entities, I mean, the reptilians are high-dimensional, 13-dimensional beings, but there's aspects, just like there's aspects of ourselves that are two-dimensional. But even in this transition, they're emotionally changing too. So, we have to send your love and light to them as well, because they aren't able to exist as they normally would. So they're basically on their way out. But it was a process for them too, just like we've been in the dark for this past cycle, 26,000 years. Even they will change as well. Everybody is one. We are all connected. This is about unification. It's not about separation. We have to get out of those old ways, those old paradigms of talking about this good or bad, or they're just as we have positive and negative aspects of ourselves, so do these other entities. So yeah, you're exactly right.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%, brother. And this is the thing. Most of us are still focusing on those negative, nasty parts of our life and existence that are around us. And the biggest hint that I can give everyone for this is, if you see those things and you're still labeling bad, that's the reason you're still experiencing them. I'm faulted with this myself with a lot of things. I still see certain things as negative or bad, and every day I lose more of that. Every day I gain more of who I am truly. And when I'm able to quit judging all of these things, then I stop experiencing them. And that's why for the last couple of years, I've never been able to experience any negative government issues directly involved with me. I see it on a collective scale, but it's more of a noticing, not an affecting. I'm living within my own existence, and all of those things don't connect to me. But the only reason they're there is because I still believe somewhere deep down in my heart that it can exist, and that's why it does. And the more the collective shifts away from understanding that to be bad, or seeing that that's not seeing it for what it truly is, which is actually only a manifestation of our own messed up emotional parts of ourselves, then it will change.
Exactly. What people don't understand is we're actually creating that environment. We're creating that environment. It's, we have to hit home that this is literal. These speakings are the truth, and they're literal. I mean, you really have to take it to heart that it's not just it's not something that sounds good, but you're actually creating it. And I think that's what's a part of a lot of the people that are awakening right now. They're actually realizing the fact that when you take these basics of what you're experiencing on the outside, it's just an aspect of yourself. That's all it is, and it's very important, and that's why I love doing these, because it's a constant reminder to myself. I'm sure it is to you, brother, that we just have to remind ourselves and be conscious of the fact that we are creators. We were doing it when we were unawakened, and we saw where it led us. So let's be aware of our our current life in the moment, and really take our power back.
Absolutely, brother. And it's funny you said that too. Everyone's creating, even when they're not aware, and that's perfect, because there's nothing more scary than there's one thing that's more scary than someone who creates a negative effect and they don't know about it. It's the one who is creating the negativity and does know about it. And this is the chance to change everything we know. People aren't taking that literal fact that we create physical existence from a non-physical being, and we all are that being. We might only experience a small little baby piece of it, and the more we get in tune with that baby piece of it, the more we're able to expand out into the larger pieces of it. And the more we do that, the more we connect to our true self, our higher self, our soul, the part of us that is non-physical to the physical world. And I think that's so important, is to truly embrace the idea that because my mind is set that I am going to have a bad experience at this job and that I can't get a girlfriend because my relationships are always bad, well, that's why I can't be happy at my job. That's why I can't get my girlfriend. It's because my thoughts are physically and most literally creating every single bit of that.
Exactly. Exactly, brother. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, I have the same feeling where every day you're just getting another piece to the puzzle, and it's a beautiful thing to really to as a sovereign being, as of light, to know that you're creating this. It puts the ownership on you, and I think that's what we have to do, personally and collectively. We have to take ownership of what's going on. It's really doing us a favor by showing if there's anything at all negative going on in your life. It's a way to go within and find out what aspect of yourself is causing this.
Absolutely, brother. I think that's perfect. I want to share, too, a personal experience that's a testament to this. Right now, for the last couple months, I have been so excited about everything that I'm doing. I've been excited to help people. I've been excited to channel. I've been excited to do these shows. Every part of myself is in excitement for probably 80% of the day or more. I am always doing something that excites me. And it doesn't mean that things that normally I would see as bad aren't happening. These things are still happening. My father is still ill. People who are close to me are going through emotional things and bad things. But guess what? It's not perceived as bad anymore. And that's why these things aren't devastatingly horrible, not just to me, but the people I'm co-creating it with. My father's health has gotten so much better in the last 2 months once I've let go of that worrying about if he's going to make it through, if he's going to live, if he's going to be okay, or if he's going to be better. I let go of it, and it gets better. I help co-create everything around me. And this is so exciting for me. And I know you guys could probably tell it in my voice, but for these last few days, I have been so passionate, so excited, so unbelievably ecstatic about everything that's going on around me, and it reflects in every part of my life. My wife is smiling ear to ear. When a couple days ago she was having issues with her family that was sick. My dad's feeling great. He came to visit me yesterday. All these great things are happening, and it's a direct effect of this excitedness and this pure ecstasy that I've been feeling. And I love it, and I want to share that with everybody.
Yeah, I'm glad you did that, brother. Yeah, it's when you mentioned that, I was thinking about a large portion of our 3D existence here has to do with empathy. People that, for the most part, we're empathetic beings, so we are affected by others people's positivity and negativity. And when you are excited and happy in the midst of other people's maybe an illness or some sort of negativity, perceived negativity, your positivity will rub off on them. So it's so very important to when you're in a situation like that, to not to get down about it. Do not lower your vibration in the midst of this perceived chaos, because it's really just a kind of a check, letting you know that, okay, you're being tested at this moment, but if you stay up, if you understand the big picture of everything, that every person, every entity has to go through these experiences for themselves. So, it's the personal aspect, and it's also the collective aspect. But don't think that your vibration doesn't affect the people around you. And I think we talked about this before, brother.
Absolutely, yes, we have talked about that because it's so important. Everything that we're doing, with all those people who you tend to worry about so much, or you even if you're not worrying about them, but you're worrying for them, you're worrying about your relationship with them, how you're connected to them, how they're perceiving you, and vice versa. All you're doing is adding doubt. All you're doing is adding sadness, anger, frustration, envy, all of these things into what literally is tantamount to a co-creation that you're experiencing. And because you tend to be the most personal and powerful aspect of your own existence, you will increase that tenfold. You will make that 10 times worse on their part as it's reflected back to you. And it's so important to realize that the ones that we love that are sick, the ones that we cherish who are not doing well emotionally, if you tend to place that worry out in your whole life, all that does is bring it down. All it does is bring both of you down as a co-creation of negativity. And that, I mean, just to be able to stop that is so, so important.
Yes, brother, it is very important. And, to give a few examples, again, to be aware of the drama that we create for ourselves and to take back your own power. Some simple things that I do, I to raise my vibration in a negative situation, you have to literally perceive yourself breathing in light and love to change any negative situation. Be conscious of, joy and happiness in moments of darkness. And these are the things that, just these little things that we have to do, just actually picturing light going through your nostrils and going into the heart chakra. Simple things like that, if we start incorporating these things into our life, we'll really figure out and learn to gain our true powers back, because this is what we're made of. We're made of love and light. We have to lighten up on ourselves and remember that this is just a game. It's an experience. Even entities, even the higher entities, it's just an experience. They're not higher or we're lower than them. It's just the experience that they're having as well. And we have to understand that what we do affects them. So the downloads that we get for the ascension, we're also transmuting this information back to the higher self as well, and it goes to the oversoul. So it's a back and forth combination of growth, and it's a learning process. It's all a process.
I think that's beautiful, brother. That's the one thing a lot of people deal with in channeled material too. And I'm a proponent of not taking channeling any way but what you want. A lot of people have issues with the delivery system of channeling, the channeler themselves, if they're carrying aspects of themselves, how reliable is the entity connecting, if they are who they... That none of that really matters to me as much as it does. The idea of listening to the information that resonates with you. Just like you were saying, brother, every single entity that we are looking up at, that we see as higher beings, are truly in physical reality for that existence. And they're coming from one perspective. And sure, in my heart, I believe a lot of channeled entities, I believe they are who they say they are, but I still understand that they're coming from a broader aspect only because they went through that work already, only because they've been where we've been, not to the extent I believe most of them haven't been through existence like Earth, because this is a crazy, crazy school of learning, but I still think that they've been through these things, and they've been able to see that broader perspective. So taking what resonates with you, finding a channel that is resonating with you and fits your own experience, this usually tends to be the greatest, because most of the information that's given out from those entities will resonate with you because you're matching the frequency. And one thing, too, I want to backtrack really quick. That technique of the visualization and the light, that was a beautiful one, brother. I want to share one that I have as well. A lot of people go through distractionary things. And there's all sorts of these things that you can use in those moments of difficulty. But for me, one of them that's my favorite is one that Treb talked to somebody about a long time ago. They were going through these problems, and they were having an issue. It was actually a couple, and they were both having issues with each other. So what is hard to do is look at a perspective when you feel you're so close to it. A lot of people might see it as cold to distance yourself from that problem, but I think it's essential to be able to see a greater grasp. So what he told this person to do is write everything that's going on that bothers you about the other person, write it down on a piece of paper in a list of problems that you're dealing with connecting to that other person. So they did that. After that, they were told to do a meditation to clear themselves out of all negativity, to recenter themselves, and then when they wake up, act as if that piece of paper was given to them by someone they know, not someone they're close to or love very closely, just someone that they're aware of, and that they're asking for their help. And project the answers as if you have no knowledge of what the past is. Like if they say, I'm having a problem with my girlfriend with a sexual issue, that question can be looked at, well, I know why this is happening because it's me. You can't do that. You have to look as if it's someone that you don't know the backstory. Forget all these little stories that you tell yourself about why you're here and why this is this way and what judgments you placed on it to make you so close to it. Forget all of that and answer it for your friend. And once this guy was done with this, he had had so many revelations because he was finally able to distance himself from that frustration and anger that made him so tightly connected to that problem where he was manifesting more of it. And I think that's another good technique to use.
Yes, yeah, brother, that sounds wonderful. Yeah, that's basically, it's mirroring back to you, because whoever you're in a relationship with, personal, business, whatever, it's basically, these little points are just a direct reflections of yourself. And if you can learn to always be more in a place of unconditional love in every given moment, you'll see how your outside experience will change. I think a lot of people right now they're sequestering themselves, and meaning that they're being by themselves, they're going within, and that could be a good thing too, because it's a process. But we have to remember that we incarnated here, all of us incarnated at this time, to be an anchor, to be a conduit of this light. Okay, we're coming out of the cycle of darkness. So understand, when you just get up and you go to the store or something, and your interactions with other people, having that mindset of unconditional love is just spreading that light to these other beings. And it's so very important to really literally understand that and make that a part of your everyday life.
I agree 1,000%, brother. And you know why that works. You know why that unconditional love works. It's because you're approaching every situation, every connection, every relationship with no judgments. You are not any longer seeing it in polarity. You're seeing it from a side of understanding, regardless of what way that entity's coming at you or to you. And that's what's key, isn't it, brother?
It is. I mean, and to get into that a little deeper, everything is an aspect of ourselves. So when you understand, when I was talking about unification, when you understand that we are literally all connected, you cannot exist without that unconditional love, because you're expecting it to be given to you. That's how the universe works. That's the big game. You know, the adage, what you put out is what you get back. That just means that when you're giving out unconditional love, you have to get it back. You have to get it back. That's just the way it works. That's why we have to keep spreading this message. But it's really, getting back to the literal, we have to literally, in each moment, understand this about ourselves and understand that we chose to be here in this time. And start breaking away from those old belief systems and start making some new ones. And I think it's a current theme that we've talked about before, but I think it's, we just have to keep on kind of hitting that point, because to really see some change, you just have to activate this into your day, your life, your week, your years. It's just, just know who you really are as an entity, as that you're a spirit here on a mission to experience this 3D, to change the ratio from dark to light. That's basically it in a nutshell.
Absolutely, brother. I agree with you About that 1,000%, and you know what I'm talking about. And I think you're exactly right with the whole unconditional love thing. Again, this goes back to lack of expectations. The lack of expectations is vital to the overall picture, because what is an expectation? It's a judgment. It's a judgment on
Yes.
how things are going to be. It's a judgment on how it
Yes.
should come to be. And this is what's so important. The unconditional love that we are, the true nature of what we are, has no conditions on it. And this is where we need to turn this no conditions, the unconditional love, all the judgments, all expectations, we need to throw those out the window, because we can't return to what we truly are with those still in our possession. It doesn't belong to us anymore. We got to throw them behind us. And this is what helps us also be able to look in on the most important person that we all judge every day, all day, and judge the harshest and judge the most, and that's ourselves. We have to start there. The conditions we place upon ourselves outweigh, 90% of the time, outweigh every expectation we put on others. And this is the most important part of the whole lack of judgment, unconditional love, is to see it within yourself. Because I know all the people who I've been able to connect with and show love to, even the ones I've been able to connect with very strongly and show very intimate, passionate connections to, all of these people judge themselves more than they judge me. And I love to be able to be in the presence. People like you, brother, and people who I've met along the way. Some even very recently I've been able to connect to just so strongly. And the thing is, they treat me in the condition I need to treat myself, and it's with unconditional love. They love me for who I am. They love me for what I am capable of and what I do, and they don't place judgments on me, and I have to be able to do that to myself in order to do it. It's easy to give love to anybody, but it's harder to love yourself in the way you deserve to be loved, so that that love you produce to others can be more solidified and true in its nature.
That's exactly right. That's getting back to the point of focusing on yourself to alter your consciousness. There's the personal consciousness and there's the collective consciousness. We can't forget that the Earth is a collective consciousness. So is the moon, the sun, and all the other planets in our universe. They're all entities. If we treat the Earth with unconditional love and treat it well, it will only treat us well in return. We forget, again, it's okay. It's a process, but we have to start learning to understand that the big picture of all of this, that we're all connected. The Earth is a part of us. We are a part of the Earth. What the Earth goes through in this ascension period, that's what we're going through right now. So it's a little rocky, but again, we have to lighten up and remember. I always think of this all the time, that this is a game, you know what I mean? And we cannot, we have to let go of those belief systems that were given to us by our parents, society, the collective. Those are the old ways. It's time to start thinking of a new way. This is just a wonderful time to be alive. We chose to be here, and if we lighten up on ourselves, you'll see that your life experience will lighten up as well.
I agree, brother, 1,000%. I want to do an exercise with everyone who might be listening right now. It might help be able to get through these types of things a little better. Everybody who's listening, please try to close your eyes if you're willing to participate in this. I want you to close your eyes and breathe deeply in your nose and out of your mouth. I want you to breathe real deep and exhale. Release all the negative energy. Breathe in and breathe out. Now I want you to start focusing on the person in the world who you love the most. I want the person who comes to your mind first when you think of unconditional love. I want you to start picturing them right now as you're breathing in deeply. Now I want you to think of all the attributes of that person that makes them so easy to love while you're breathing in deeply. I I want you to focus in on all the parts of them that you love so dearly and hold so closely to your heart. I want you to look down at their body all the way down to their toes. Leave their face and go down to their toes. Start to look up again, and as you reach the shoulders, you'll see that that head now belongs to you. It now is your face on this body. All that love that you reflected to that person, you need to be able to put that back into yourself. That is a reflection of yourself. Now, all of those things that you just thought about, that you loved about that person, you need to be able to see that greatness in yourself, because this is remembering who we are. We judge ourselves so drastically and so hardly from day to day, and this is what brings a lot of our pain on. We need to see what we love in that other person, and we need to see it in ourselves. Despite of how hard you fight against this, you have to see that in yourself. Now take those judgments that you put on yourself, and I want you to take one of them at a time and release them. You would never place this judgment on that person that you love so dearly. Why place it on yourself? Release them one at a time, please. And understand that this is the nature of our reality. This is the nature of our truth. If you're able to love someone so dearly, you have to be able to love yourself that way. You have to see the person who's your worst enemy and place that face of your loved one on them. You have to try to reach this state to be able to lose all of your preconceived notions, all of your expectations, and all of your judgments on everyone you interact with, but it must start with you. It must start with you. And thank you all for participating in this really quickly with me.
Wow, that was beautiful, brother. I never did that exercise before, but that really was that really hit home. That was beautiful. Thank you so much for that.
Well, thank you, brother. I made it up as I was going along. I just felt the need to share. And this is what I mean. Right now, I'm such in a great, exciting state right now. I feel so deeply in love with the world right now. I feel so connected to so many people right now. And this is how it manifests. It manifests with the ability to find yourself and the true nature of you. And a lot of people place me in a different position than they might place themselves, because I'm able to channel and they're not able to reach their higher selves in ways that they're familiar with. But I don't accept that idea very well, because I know that I'm not better than anyone. In fact, I've got a lot of my own issues, and doing this exercise is something I needed to do as well. I have to be able to release the judgments, not only on those I love, but those that I put on myself. And we all need to do this to raise this collective. The same way that a lot of people look at these channeled entities, they're not any better than you are. You are a divine being. You are a part of the Creator that is so magnificent that you're able to create the world around you, and know that you have this power. Find the true root of yourself. Go back to what you truly are. Even if you can't do it all day, try to do it as often as possible. And once you're able to divinely connect to yourself, or connect to your divine self, then you're able to experience just a little portion of what we all truly are.
That was beautiful, brother. Yeah, that's raising your vibration. That's your vibration is so high right now. You're able to see so many different things. You're tapping into those past, present, and future lives, the positive aspects of that. That's what this polarity is. When we see a UFO up in the sky, it's because our vibrations are high, so we're meeting their vibration. It's no coincidence that these things are happening right now. There's no coincidence that these channelers are coming out of the woodwork. It's such a beautiful thing to see another one come online, to see another teacher, another one spreading the truth of love and light. I mean, it's just amazing to me. It's just amazing to me, and it's really I'm just so happy, because everybody has to learn from a teacher. It's no coincidence. These people are being brought here to deliver a message because we have forgotten as a collective about this 3D. We're in 5D right now. We just have to raise ourselves to be able to experience it more. So thank you so much, brother.
Well, thank you too, brother. And that reminds me too. The teachers are a great outlet, but the teachers are also students. We all learn together, and to be able to start seeing that own greatness within you, to know that you are the best teacher of your own self, and only finding outlets. I think it's time for all of us to start seeing each other on that equal level. I think that's so important to be able to do right now, is to know that there's nothing in this universe that a channeler can tell you, that a mystic can tell you, a psychic can tell you, that you cannot find within yourself. It's the idea of aligning to what you truly are, and not the ego-driven version, not the connected to collective in a disconnected way person, but the real person that you are will always be able to find out the answers that are best fit for you when you dig deep in that heart, and it's to see that equality. And I think, brother, that you have hit so many beautiful points this evening, and I'm so excited that we were able to do this. I feel so high right now. My vibration is just so off the roof crazy, and it's been because of my great experiences in this last couple months, and especially in the last few days. I just feel so great, and I appreciate, brother, for co-creating. There's one thing too I wanted to ask you. I didn't know if you wanted, if you're comfortable with the idea of sharing the specific stories about your sightings that you've had in the last couple of weeks, and the difference of your vibration of the last couple of weeks, how it's kind of risen a little bit, and that's kind of what helped you see that, you know?
Oh, sure. Yeah, my pleasure. It's a few weeks ago, I was going through a process where I was getting rid of the belief systems that I had, and I really made a large leap of consciousness in terms of when I started to see things and experience things that were not negative, but just weren't really positive. I really studied those things, and I learned to look into myself. Okay, how did I co-create this thing? So in that process, it seems like I've let go a lot of that baggage that no longer belongs to me. It never did, but in that process, I just felt like this really unleashing of a lot of this negativity, and again, not negativity, but old belief systems that we had about judgment, about understanding the co-creation we have with family and friends and strangers in the public. And after releasing this, I just started to experience another level of consciousness that I never have before, and looking up into the sky and just simply saying, love, what are you going to show me today? And right at that moment, a large UFO, or a large consciousness — it's really strange to call them UFOs at this point, but some sort of consciousness was there, and showed me a sign. Just kind of, it was like a winking of an eye. Somebody winks at you. It's just, these experiences has happened more and more, and it just goes to show you that when you raise your vibration, when you let go of that old baggage that doesn't belong to you more, that when you start creating these new belief systems, you really understand, it really unloads you, and you start remembering, that you really are a spirit here going through this experience. And it's just been a wonderful 2 weeks for me as well, brother.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I didn't mean to put you on the spot or anything, but I did.
Oh, no, my pleasure.
I wanted you to share it because it fits right into what we're talking about. It fits so perfectly into the ideas that we're going. I always think the best approach to help share these ideas with people, as given a suggestion by my good friend Terrence. He told me once, when you do the Rob and George show, share more of your personal experiences. It reaches people better. So I thought that this would be a beautiful way to kind of merge this in with what we're talking about. And everything that we're experiencing is going to be very, very beautifully put together. And I think that experience was definitely worth talking about. And thank you, brother, for sharing it.
Oh, my pleasure, brother. Yeah, it was the as they come in, we'll share them more.
I agree completely, brother. I think that's going to be about it for the evening. I think we're right about at the time period that we want to be, close to our hour there. And I just want to express to everybody, thank you guys for listening. I know you guys have been waiting for a while for the Rob and George show to get back into action. Well, it's back in action. Me and George are both doing really, really great now. We're really doing what we're meant to be doing, and that's sharing our love, our messages, our stories, and our personal experiences so that you may grow from them, or that you can help reconnect you to that final aspect that you truly are. And if you have to say anything too, brother, about this whole day and wrap it up in one sentence or one idea, what would that be to you?
Well, I would say, just please remember your identity in every given moment, that you're a spirit, that you chose to be here, and that you're on a mission anchoring light to this planet right now. And we'll continue to talk on these. We'll keep on helping you remember, and we learn from the listeners as well. So it's a beautiful thing, and I'm just so happy to be a part of this co-creation. Thank you, brother.
I appreciate it too, brother, and thank you. And I would like to wrap up with saying that, I've gotten a little bit amplified tonight, more than usual, and I hope for those who are a little shocked by it, they forgive me, but I can't hide my excitement. It's not something I do well. I show myself on my sleeve very easily, and I appreciate you guys handling that, and I love all of you guys so much. Everything, all the feedback that we've gotten from you guys has been so wonderful. You guys understand the efforts that George has put in, that we all have put in to co-create this experience, to be able to help everyone learn a little more, and I appreciate all that all of you guys do with co-creating, to listen and to share, and it's just so wonderful, and I love you guys all so much, and thank you guys all for this evening, and I love you guys beyond words.
Yes, I agree, brother. Love and light to all, and we'll see you next time.
This is the Rob and George Enlightenment Evolution Show. This is Rob.
And this is George.
And we're signing off for the night. We love you guys, and thank you guys so much.